Good evening and welcome to the January 28th, 2019 meeting of the Shawnee City Council. I'd ask that you please silence your electronic devices at this time. I am Mayor Michelle Dissler. I'll be chairing this meeting. I'll do a roll call at this time. Councilmember Zimmerman.
Present.
Councilmember Neighbor.
Present.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Present.
Councilmember Kimling.
Present.
Councilmember Meyer.
Present.
Councilmember Larson-Bonnell.
Present.
Councilmember Sandifer.
Present.
Councilmember Constance.
Present.
Thank you. Please stand. Join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next, I'll explain our procedures for public input. During the meeting, I'll offer the opportunity for public input. If you'd like to speak to the council at any of those times, please come forward to the microphone. I'll ask you to state your name and address for the record, and then you may offer your comments. So that members of the audience can hear your comments, I would ask that you speak directly into the microphone. By policy, comments are limited to 5 minutes. No person may speak more than twice to any one agenda item. After you're finished, please sign the form on the podium to ensure we have an accurate record of your name and address. In addition, while I won't do a roll call vote on every vote, I will state council members' names who vote in minority so that our listening audience will have a clear and accurate record of the vote. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Does anyone have an item they'd like to remove from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is mayor's items. I do not have anything tonight. The next item is appointments. Item number 1 is to consider appointment to the Johnson County Community Corrections Advisory Board. I am recommending Beth Cornegay to serve as the Shawnee representative on the Johnson County Community Corrections Advisory Board. Does anyone on the council have any questions? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? I'll accept a motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Mrs. Cornegay, will you please stand up and be recognized? Thank you so much for your willingness to serve. Next item is business from the floor. Is there anyone who has comments on an issue that is not on tonight's agenda? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Ray Ehrlichman, 7510 Garnett Street. I'm going to try and make this real quick. We've been very fortunate past couple of years, and city staff's done a very nice job on getting information out on the city's newest website, getting information to the public. I would like to recommend one modification, though. Now, I'm going to be mentioning the community center, but this is not a discussion about the community centers. It's the latest big report up there. I wanted some information from the report that was up there, but it took a while to drill down to find it. There was another gentleman who wanted some information about it, and he went back to the August meeting, and it took him a while to get what he wanted. It was there, but drilling down. And then when we had the meeting at Northwest, there was a young couple that was talking to the deputy parks director, and I was waiting my turn. And the conversation went, well, did you see this? Yeah. Did you see that? Yeah. Did you go there? Didn't have time to get to it. The information is there. So what I'm suggesting, this would not really be any extra work for staff. And it's not just the community center. It's any project like that. That they take certain financial information that they already have up there, like this one about the costs versus expenses versus income, and take those charts out and maybe create a separate 3 or 4 page report for quick reference to the financial information. And they could even, under each chart, say, for further information or further details on how we came to this, go back to pages 55 to 59 on the report or something like that. Because a lot of people would be interested in this, but sometimes they get, I don't know, eye strain or whatever, because having to try to locate it. And that's all. Just go back to the old KISS theory. Keep it simple, stupid, and create it so that people can get to it easily. Now, staff won't necessarily do something like that based on a citizen, so it need a council member or 2 or 3 or 4 to suggest it to staff that something like that be done. So that's all I'm asking. If anybody on the council agrees with this concept, creating a separate little pamphlet online with these charts, don't make the charts any different, just pull them from the original report and make them easily accessible. That's it. I think under the 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Constance?
I support the suggestion of trying to come up with a quick, easy guide for folks. I think it's a good idea. Is that okay?
Mr. Kimling?
Yeah, I also like the idea of getting a summary for that.
Okay, do you need a motion or anything, or?
That's fine. Staff's been meeting to kind of prepare for, specifically on the community center for months, and so kind of pending the direction of the February 11th meeting, we kind of already started, and Julie's been working along with Caitlin and Neil and Tanya to kind of come up with kind of frequently asked questions and kind of an overview and summary. We've got some draft material that they've been working on even for the city line and some postcards, and also we'll have that information together, so.
Thank you. Next, please state your name and address for the record.
Tracy Thomas, 13022 West 76th Terrace in Seven Hills, where we're starting to feel some love. Thank you for the new streets. I agree totally with Ray. I attended the first non-meeting. It was billed as a meeting, but it was a non-meeting in a building that had no signage. You couldn't find the room. You walk in, there's no meeting, there's no microphone. It's just cookies and posters. It's kind of like pin the tail on the donkey. We were supposed to bump around in the dark and try to find somebody, but if we got an answer, it didn't get broadcast on a microphone to other people. I don't think that's the best way if you're looking at the largest, well, the highest property tax increase in the history of Kansas to have a meeting like that, and when it's not really a meeting. So, I wanted to see the ballot wording, and you don't know the ballot wording. I spoke with Ellis this afternoon, and so I wanted to look at, well, maybe we can learn from some of the mistakes made by Miriam recently. And can we put the thing up on the screen? Okay, you can see they voted to build a pool and a community center, and it was actually $30 million. It was $24 million for a sales tax increase, and another $6 million from the general fund. But they didn't limit it. They said to construct certain parks and recreation improvements, including but not limited to. That is a blank check. And I think you need to be very specific when you're going for something this big. You think you want to be transparent and finite. They terminated theirs in 10 years. Yours is, according to the assistant city manager, who was very kind to me, is supposed to have no sunset. That's a blank check. 6 of you are on the ballot in November, and you could have a council turnover who could do a little bit like Kansas City, Missouri, and it's like, well, you know, I know you voted for a $2 billion airport, but now it's $4 billion, and now we might not build it. We might go back and bid it out. So let's learn from other cities, and let's be transparent. Because there's a lot on your agenda. February 11th, you're supposed to tell us what it is, whether it has a pool in it or not, what the ballot wording is, and I know you want to put it on the ballot that night because it takes 90 days for the election board to get ready for May 21. And I'm glad you're doing a mail-in ballot because 41,000 people will get it at their door with free postage unless they're already on the automatic ballot thing. And as opposed to being on the general when you'd only have maybe an 8% turnout. So good for you on that. The other thing is that today or yesterday in the Shawnee Mission Post, which is an online newspaper since we don't have newspapers anymore, they published a story about pedophile priests in Johnson County. 7 had been posted to St. Joe and Good Shepherd. And I was just discussing with the chief, some of those are old cases, or, the priests have moved on. But that's very alarming to me. I would love for our police department to go speak to Archbishop Naumann and say, if you are harboring people that have not been convicted, but that are pedophiles, and that you're just reassigning them to different parishes, you need to alert the police and inform them, and you need to tell the principal of the school. The principal of Good Shepherd is Ann McGuff, the wife of Bill McGuff, a former city councilman here. And I don't know if they ever told her that the priest, training all these little altar boys was a pedophile. That's just very concerning. So they hadn't been to court. The church doesn't like to convict its workforce because they will be treated horribly in prison. But you can't just, move them around and park them in small parishes without alerting law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, are there any other comments from the floor that is not on tonight's agenda? Okay, seeing none, the next items on the agenda are public items. Item number 1 is to conduct a public hearing to consider the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report for the 2018 Community Development Block Grant CDBG funds. CDBG program requires a public hearing to provide the opportunity for citizen participation. Staff will forward the report to the Department of Housing and Urban Development after the public hearing and approval by the council. I'll accept a motion to conduct a public hearing.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. We are now in a public hearing. This is a formal public hearing required by law. There is no presentation planned, but does anyone on the council have any questions? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion to conclude the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Public hearing is now closed. Recommended action is consider accepting the 2018 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report. Do I have a second? I guess I need a motion. It's
Move
missing
to
here.
accept the 2018 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item number 2 is to consider contract number 2019-015, an excise tax abatement with Richard L. Berry of Dragon Free LLC for Subtle Woods First Plat located in the 7600 block of Monticello Road. Pursuant to policy, Richard L. Berry has requested consideration of the conditional abatement of the excise tax for a development consisting of 16 duplexes in 8 buildings. Recommended action is to consider approving and authorizing the mayor to sign the contract. Does anyone on the council have any questions? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item is staff items. Item number 1 is to consider contract number 2019-016, an agreement with Johnson County for the County Assisted Road System, CARS funding, related to the 75th Street from Quivira to Schweitzer Street Improvement Project. This project is on the city's capital improvement program. The city was awarded CARS funding for the reimbursement of 50% of all construction and engineering costs up to $1,400,000. An agreement with Johnson County is required. Recommended action is to consider approving and authorizing the mayor to sign the contract. Is there any discussion from the council? Mr. Jenkins.
If I read that correctly, we get 1.4 million from the county, 400,000 from Westbrook Green, and then we're putting in 1.2 million of this total. Is that correct? $3 million project?
That's right.
Okay. You shaking his head yes, I'll take that as a yes.
Doug Whitaker, Public Works Director. Yes, it's the CARS portion of it, and then we have the city's portion is the 1.2. I don't have those numbers exactly in front of me. And the other there was partly in that agreement with Westbrook that they would put some money towards the intersection.
Right.
of Quivera and 75th. So it's a combination of the three.
And it seemed like Lenexa was involved somehow too, but I really didn't see how that worked.
Lenexa will be involved. I think that would be in another, as far as with the intersection, part of the intersection is theirs with the traffic signal. So, but I think 3/4 of it is ours.
Okay. I just wanted everybody here to be able to know what the numbers broke down for, so thank you.
Any other comments from the council? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item?
Tracy Thomas, 13022 West 76 Terrace. Please tell me this is not going to be like Neiman, and it's going to be 3 lanes, 4 lanes, 3 lanes, 4 lanes. That's word on the street, is that you're going to narrow 75th Street, and we don't have a newspaper to confirm what the city's doing.
I heard that.
Doug Whitaker again. No, 75th with there's a streetscape grant that's going to look at how can we make it or beautify it or whatever you want to call it as far as aesthetic portion of it. Then we would look at the total design of 75th. At this point in time, I know of no plans to narrow it to 3 lanes at all. That's a very heavily traveled road. And then we're adding that Westbrook Green, if I got the name right, Westbrook in there. So there is no intent that I know of to reduce any lanes to 3 lanes in that section.
So no road diet.
No road diet, as we talked on the phone.
Thank you. Anyone else from the audience like to speak to this item? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item number 2 is to consider contract number 2019-017 with Walter P. Moore and Associates for engineering, design, and construction-related services for the Seven Hills Lake Storm Drainage Improvements Project number 3461. Several stormwater pipes related to the Seven Hills Lake have reached the end of their service life and are in need of repair. 10 firms were solicited, and staff is recommending Walter P. Moore in the amount of $83,955. Recommended action is to consider approving and authorizing the mayor to sign the contract. Is there any discussion from the council? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion.
Move for approval. Second?
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item number 3 is to consider revisions to policy statement number 27, PS 27, development and service fees, surety requirements, and insurance requirements to incorporate small cell wireless facility fees. PS 27 contains fees that are collected for various programs related to public works and development. Staff is recommending incorporating small cell wireless facility fees to align with a recent ruling by the Federal Communications Commission. Recommended action is to consider approving revisions to policy statement number 27. Is there any discussion from the council? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion.
Move to approve. Second?
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item number 4 is to consider the 2019 Federal Legislative Program. A draft program was included in the packet. Staff is available for questions. Recommended action is consider approving the 2019 Federal Legislative Program with any recommended changes. Or is there any discussion from the council? Anyone from the audience like to, Mr. Jenkins.
Had to get the turn thing on, takes a second. And you're moving fast, Mayor. Just want to mention, this looks a little different than the one we looked at previously. There's some things that aren't on here that were on the other one. In fact, they were things that I didn't really like very much, and they're not there now. So I find this to be an improved version. We had things about, promoting energy and all this other stuff on there, which
The federal.
oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
But we're glad you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one I can live with. And I don't like that other one with all that other crap in there that I think the city has nothing to do with. Yeah, okay,
Very
good.
good. Any other discussion from the council?
Thanks for pointing that out.
Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion's been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is miscellaneous items. Item number 1 is to ratify the semi-monthly claim for January 28, 2019 in the amount of $2,601,314.53. Is there any discussion from the council? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? I'll accept a motion.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Miscellaneous council items. Does anyone on the council have an item they would like to discuss? Seeing none. Item number 3 is to conduct an executive session. I will accept a motion to recess to executive session for 1 hour to discuss an individual employee's performance pursuant to the non-elected personnel matter exception in KSA 754319B1, to receive attorney-to-client privilege communications in accordance with KSA 754319B2 for the purpose of protecting the confidentiality of those communications, and for the preliminary discussion of the acquisition of real property in accordance with KSA 754319B6 for the purpose of protecting the confidentiality of those communications. At the conclusion of the executive session, the meeting will reconvene in the city council chambers. Do I have a motion?
Move to conduct an executive session for 1 hour.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
So many people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do we need a motion?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think they need to do anything.
We just talked about that. I thought it was already written in there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
So we just in the executive session and adjourn? Perfect.
I think so. Plus, I
Okay.
hate when we come back a little late. I know you do too. When we come back a little late and don't do anything, no harm, but if we come back a little late.
Okay.
And there's nothing you're gonna do.
Okay. So the next action is to conclude the executive session. Do I have a motion?
Move to conclude the executive session.
The motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. The next action is to reconvene the meeting. Do I have a motion?
Reconvene.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. The city attorney tells me we do not need a motion, as it's included in the contract. If there are no other items, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Where's your water jug, Mike?
It's in the back. The way.
City attorney says.
Don't forget the word.